the government faced one of the biggest financial crises in history.
A unique day in London's financial markets ended with the Chancellor announcing that the pound was being suspended from the ERM.
It was a day when the Bank of England lost billions and speculators made fortunes.
In a world torn apart by the ravages of war, a young boy from a privileged background stood witness to the unthinkable. The horrors he experienced would shape the trajectory of his life. This boy would rise to become one of the most influential figures the world has ever seen. Eventually, he'd publicly state, "It is a sort of disease when you consider yourself some kind of god, the creator of everything, but I feel comfortable about it now since I began to live it out." This is, of course, George Soros. August 12, 1930, Budapest, Hungary. Then named George Schwartz was born into a prosperous Jewish family. His mother, Erzsébet, operated a successful silk store, while his father, Tivadar, a revered lawyer, was chief editor of the literary magazine Literatura Monda, imparting upon his son a hunger for societal change. In the year 1936, a dark cloud of anti-Semitism began to cast its shadow over the nation, igniting fear and uncertainty in the hearts of many. It was a time of rapid growth for this toxic ideology, and Tivadar, a man of foresight and determination, could sense the storm approaching. He took a bold step to protect his family. The family name Schwartz, which bore the weight of their Jewish heritage, was shed like an old skin. In its place, a new name emerged, Soros, a cloak of safety, a fortress of disguise. Like chameleons blending into their surroundings, they concealed their true heritage behind a Christian facade, a shield against the rising tide of persecution. But Tivadar's ingenuity didn't stop there. Recognizing the need for additional measures, he obtained the crucial documents that would solidify their Christian identity, sealing their fate as members of a different faith. These papers became a lifeline, safeguarding the Soros family from the clutches of the Nazi regime. By March of 1944, the iron grip of the Nazi Party tightened its hold on Hungary, plunging the country into a nightmare of fear and oppression. Amidst this, George Soros, a mere 13 years old, found himself tasked with the role of a courier for the Nazi Party. He carried out his duties, reporting fellow Jewish families in town. The Nazis, like vultures descending upon their prey, seized the possessions and the very livelihoods of those unfortunate souls Soros exposed. In his later years, he would hardly look back at this moment in his life.
And you watched lots of people get shipped off to the death camps.
Right. I was 14 years old. And I would say that that's when my character was made.
In what way?
That one should think ahead, one should understand and anticipate events, and one is threatened. It was a tremendous threat of evil. I mean, it was a very personal experience of evil.
My understanding is that you went out with this protector of yours who swore that you were his adopted godson.
Yes, yes.
Went out, in fact, and helped in the confiscation of property from the Jews.
That's right. Yes.
I mean, that sounds like an experience that would send lots of people to the psychiatric couch for many, many years. Was it difficult?
Not at all.
In the war-ravaged year of 1945, amidst the echoes of gunfire and the anguished cries of a beleaguered city, Soros found himself trapped within the heart of a brutal conflict. The siege of Budapest raged on, a fierce battle waged street by street, building by building, as the clashing forces of the Soviet and Nazi German armies vied for control. Amidst the chaos and destruction, the horrors of war left a mark on Soros. Then, tragedy struck close to home. His mother became a victim of sexual assault by Russian soldiers. This unfathomable event would forever sear into Soros' consciousness, leaving scars that would shape his perception of the world, igniting a relentless drive for control. As the curtain fell on World War II, Soros settled into Paris, later finding his way to the bustling streets of England. There, he worked as a railway porter and waiter, while attending the prestigious London School of Economics from 1951 to 1954. Soros found himself captivated by the teachings of Professor Karl Popper. The philosopher of science instilled in Soros a profound belief in the power of falsifiability, critique of historicism, and open society. At the core of Popper's philosophy was a unique insight: the crucial role of falsifiability in the realm of scientific inquiry. In simple terms, Popper believed that a scientific theory must be able to be proven false through observation or experimentation. If there is no way to prove a theory wrong, then it cannot be considered scientific. This idea of falsifiability was important because it helped to distinguish between real science and pseudoscience. It was like solving a puzzle to separate what is true and valid from what is not. In addition, Popper also delved into the critique of historicism. This concept challenged the notion that history follows predetermined laws or patterns, emphasizing instead that human actions play a crucial role in shaping the course of events. By debunking the idea of historical determinism, Popper emphasized the power of individual agency and highlighted the potential for meaningful change. Moreover, Popper was a staunch defender of liberal democracy and a vocal critic of totalitarianism. He championed the concept of an open society, viewing democratic societies as dynamic and self-correcting systems. In his vision, open societies encouraged freedom of thought, expression, and diverse perspectives, fostering an environment where ideas could be scrutinized, debated, and improved upon. By advocating for open societies, Popper aimed to challenge the dangers of authoritarian rule and promote the values of individual liberty and collective progress. Popper's philosophical beliefs sparked controversy and shaped the 20th century. These ideas greatly influenced Soros, leaving a lasting impact. After graduating from the London School of Economics, Soros embarked on a career in a London investment firm, armed with his own burgeoning beliefs. One prominent concept that took root within him was that of an open society, a stark departure from the ideologies of totalitarianism, communism, and fascism, embracing individual freedom, democratic governance, and a dynamic social and economic framework. At the core of Soros' beliefs was the concept of fallibilism, an understanding that all knowledge is inherently tentative, subject to constant revision based on new evidence. This principle resonated deeply with him and influenced his investment strategies, as he remained open to adjusting his positions in response to evolving facts. Critical thinking also played a significant role in his approach, becoming even more pronounced in his philanthropic efforts as he sought to effect change. In the aftermath of World War II, Europe was in a state of disarray, desperately in need of reconstruction and revitalization. The Marshall Plan, a massive aid initiative by the United States, injected billions of dollars into the region, aiming to rebuild and restore its shattered economies. Soros keenly observed the transformative power of the Marshall Plan. He began to envision the need for a global equivalent, a blueprint to foster openness, cooperation, and shared prosperity on a global scale. The idea of a global Marshall Plan resonated deeply with him, fueling his commitment to shaping a more inclusive and interconnected world. Soros embarked on a journey, using his resources and influence to advance the ideals of an open society worldwide. As time marched on, the realm of finance witnessed the rise of legendary names like Warren Buffett, George Soros, and later Ray Dalio, all titans of money management, captivating the world with their unparalleled success. From the years 1970 to 2000, Soros achieved major success with his hedge fund company, Quantum Fund. He'd have an average return rate of 30%, and in some years a staggering 60% every year, which is suspiciously remarkable. These were operating on offshore laws, avoiding the confines of U.S. tax codes, but nonetheless, Soros became one of the best managers. Soros' investment philosophy finds its roots in two profound ideas. The first is the theory of fallibility, acknowledging that humans have limitations in their understanding. We are influenced by biases, incomplete information, and emotions, making perfect understanding impossible. This insight reminds us of our flaws and the importance of being humble in our judgments, especially in complex systems like economics. Soros' second idea is the theory of reflexivity, which highlights how our beliefs and perceptions shape the world around us. He understood that our subjective views can influence the ideas we're trying to understand. This process creates a feedback loop where changing beliefs impact decision-making, ultimately shaping the state of the world. The theory of reflexivity helps us grasp the interconnected and ever-changing nature of our reality. Soros has been open in leveraging his philosophical insights to strategically manipulate the market and amass billions of dollars in profits. This is how he did it. In 1992, Soros bet $10 billion against the British pound, believing the pound was overvalued and the British government would have to devalue the currency. Proven right, the British government was forced to withdraw the pound from the European exchange rate mechanism. He made a $1 billion profit from this trade, earning him the nickname the man who broke the Bank of England. Soros admitted that this bet was taking money out of the pockets of British taxpayers. He avoided taking into account social consequences in fear of throwing off his risk-reward calculator and his profit. 1 year later, in 1993, he wrote a letter to the Times of London stating that he expected the German mark to fall against all major currencies, immediately triggering panic selling. 4 years later, in 1997, during the Asian financial crisis, Soros' investment was blamed for exacerbating the crisis. Malaysia's then Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad accused Soros of destabilizing regional economics through currency speculation. 1 year after that, in 1998, when Soros told the Financial Times of London that Russia should devalue the ruble by 25%, causing widespread panic selling. Then, in 2004, when Soros announced a short position against the dollar on CNN, while the dollar was declining against the euro, pushing the dollar down further. Soros is a master at manipulating the market, able to accumulate billions. With a staggering net worth in the billions, Soros found himself yearning for something more, leading him to embark on philanthropic ventures. As the wealthiest political activist, he gained notable recognition. In 1984, he established the Open Society Foundation, channeling his vast wealth into the organization. By 2017, his personal contributions had reached a remarkable $32 billion. Through his foundation, Soros exerted influence over media, politics, and universities. He invested over $24 million in the endeavor to defeat George W. Bush in the 2004 election. Moreover, the foundation allocated an annual sum of $50 million to shape university agendas, spanning 171 institutions across 51 countries. Unquestionably, this substantial funding ensured that Soros' beliefs permeated these academic institutions. In the realm of media, Soros established deep connections with mainstream news organizations such as the New York Times, the Washington Post, Associated Press, CNN, and ABC. By 2011, it was estimated that Soros' influence reached an astounding 300 million people per month through these media outlets. Furthermore, his financial holdings included a 2.2% stake in Liberty Broadband, the second largest cable operator in the U.S., and ownership of Viacom-CBS, which encompasses renowned channels like Nickelodeon, Showtime, BET, MTV, Comedy Central, Paramount, and Simon & Schuster. This level of control grants him the power to shape not only the media being produced, but what books get published. Most recently, Soros has been involved in a $400 million deal to acquire Vice. However, Soros' control of the mainstream narrative was threatened in 2016. Donald Trump began garnering popularity during his presidential campaign. During the World Economic Forum, Soros boldly declared that nationalism stood as the greatest threat to the open society ideology, while Trump's unwavering belief in America's greatness directly challenged Soros's established order. Moreover, Soros perceived Trump as the epitome of narcissism and dedicated substantial resources to ensure his defeat in the 2020 election. Through the Open Society Foundation, Soros raised funds to encourage people of color to vote by mail in November, contributing to the success of Joe Biden's campaign. Soros' support for Biden amounted to a staggering $70 million, ultimately leading to Trump's defeat. Furthermore, Soros allocated $40 million to finance pro-criminal district attorneys, further reflecting his distinct influence within the realm of law enforcement and criminal justice. Born into a privileged family with secure finances, he witnessed the horrors of global conflict and emerged with a renewed determination to make a positive impact on the world. Yet, as time went on, Soros' power and control over media and government institutions grew to an extraordinary extent, raising questions about his true intentions and motivations. Is he the enigmatic puppet master manipulating events and shaping public opinion to suit his own agenda? Or is he a committed humanitarian, guided solely by a steadfast belief in what he perceives as right? One thing remains clear: he wields an unprecedented amount of control, capable of shaping narratives and influencing the course of nations.